Let's take a minute to review the learning goals for Chapter 4, which focuses on economic efficiency, government price setting, and taxes. In this chapter, we built from our knowledge about the market gained in Chapter 3. We learned to understand the concept of economic efficiency in the market and how we can see that is maximized when the market is in equilibrium, where consumer and producer surplus are maximized. We learned how consumers gain from market trade not only through the purchase of the good itself, but also through the experience of consumer surplus. We learned how producers similarly gain through their experience of producer surplus. These two concepts together comprise economic surplus, which can be calculated to measure the total value to society of exchange of a good through a market. As a reminder, be sure you understand the difference between the concepts of surplus and economic surplus. You don't want to get caught and tripped up by this tricky terminology. In this chapter, we also began to explore the tenet that rational behavior requires weighing costs and benefits at the margin, by learning about the concepts of marginal benefit and marginal cost. We also learned about market inefficiency. In this case, we learned how that inefficiency can be caused by government intervention. Later, we'll learn how governments can intervene in the market to sometimes correct for inefficiency, which relates to this last tenet. We learned that the inefficiency that comes from a market that is not in equilibrium due to an intervention such as a price floor or a price ceiling is called deadweight loss. And that deadweight loss represents the lost value of trade that does not take place. This should remind us of our economic tenet that voluntary trade creates wealth. In this case, the wealth can be lost consumer and producer surplus, which is real economic benefit, even if cash does not exchange hands. We also learned about the black market, which is an example of how we can see that economic systems, such as prohibitions on the purchase and sale of goods, impact choice in predictable ways. Finally, we learned about the concept of tax incidence, which helps us understand that there is a sharing, and sometimes a shifting, of the burden of a tax between buyers and sellers in the market. In the next chapter, we'll learn some tools that will help us to come back to this idea of tax incidence and investigate it a bit further. If you're ready, you should turn now to the Chapter 6 materials to begin to learn about this concept of elasticity. Please note that we are skipping Chapter 5. Remember, you can always bring any questions you have to my office hours or to the tutor for this course. You can make an appointment with the tutor through the ARC using the Academic Resources tab at the top of EC-Learn, and you can book an appointment with me through the EC-Learn homepage for our site, or just come to walk-in office hours.